Hello, this is Dr. Love Khed. I'm here with my friend Mr. KJ Sharma. Today we are going to be discussing the India-Pakistan relationship. Mr. Sharma, my first question is, since the inception of Pakistan, which is right after the independence, the relationship between the two countries has not been really harmonious. Can you comment on what are the reasons, please?
Yeah, unfortunately, first of all, uh, there was no reason for this partition between India and Pakistan. But unfortunately, the British who were ruling the country, they they thought that if this entire region remained united, this may become a very powerful vision, and the Western Europe or the Western world might have felt that if this region becomes very strong, we would be on weaker wicket. So that's how as I feel the British designed this, and they instigated, they worked it out, the policy of divide and rule. So during their rule, in order to continue their ruling the country, they had started you know using the divide and rule kind of a thing, dividing between all the castes among the Hindu community, though this caste system and upper and lower and this and that, these things were these things are in every community, whether it is we Muslims or Hindus or even in Christians. So upper and lower is always there, but more so in India among the Hindus, there had been many castes. Those were not the really castes. Those were the professional identifications. Like, if the goldsmith was there, or the blacksmith is there, or the farmer is there. These kind of uh, titles you will find even in the Western world. You will find the title, surname, so and so farmer, so and so blacksmith, so and so goldsmith. Was so these were the actually uh, professional and identifications. But what happened that, because India had been invaded by various invaders. So whenever there is an attack on any community or any country, the people living in their own community, they want to shrink and they want to remain within their own community. So then what happened? Then they started having the marriage relationship within their own community. So this had been going on for the last more than 800 years, because first when the uh, Arabians or Mongolians or Mongols, when they invaded the country, it has started from that time. The community in India, various communities, they were having this apprehension, so they wanted to be united. This time, British realized. So they thought, okay, very good. Though these are all professional identifications, but since they are living in their own community, so these are all different communities. So let us divide them and keep ruling them. So they started exploiting, dividing, and ruling the country. So as a result, when the situation came to such a stage that the people started uh, fighting against the British rule, and freedom struggle started. So that time they exploited basically the Muslims and the Hindus, and they instigated, that time leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru and Mr. Jinnah. Though as I understand and I had read, Jinnah was not really very much in favor of separation, but looks like that uh, Nehru was more lured, because Nehru had the ambition to become the prime minister or head of the country. And he had been very close to Lady Mountbatten, was used to, influence and impress upon both of them because this was the British design. In fact, there had been a meeting which had been conducted by Lord Mountbatten, and Jinnah was also there, Nehru was there, Lady Mountbatten was also there. So somehow both of them had been convinced that, Muslims and Hindus, they cannot live together, so it is better that we should be divided and both of you can lead. Look, this is what, as we have read and we have found it. So we understand that. So this was very unfortunate. Ultimately, India was divided. But after the division, what happened that, Pakistan as a younger brother, they thought, oh, by this division, India has got much bigger portion.
Yeah, but that was part of the design prepared by the Britishers, is right based on the population concentration. They did this division.
No,
So Muslims should have felt they bought everything that they wanted.
no, but actually what happens? When the division took place, after the people living in Pakistan side and people living in India side, they were all living like brothers in one country. That time there was nothing in their mind that they will be divided and they will be living separately. But once the division had taken place, the people who went towards Pakistan, they started thinking, or the elites or the rulers who were there in Pakistan side, they started feeling like, if two brothers are there, if one gets much more, the other one who gets lesser area or lesser property, you know, the jealousy is bound to be there. It is the human nature. So out of this jealousy, they started thinking that, oh, so Hindus got much bigger portion. So if we take Kashmir, then, let us take Kashmir and let us also take Balochistan. Balochistan was also not part of Pakistan when Pakistan was formed. In fact, Balochistan had got independence even before India and Pakistan. And even Pakistan embassy was also opened in Balochistan. And Jinnah was hired by the ruler of Balochistan with the British government that, Balochistan should be left independent. But what happened that 1/3 of the British army, Pakistan got. So the army personnel who got the real control over Pakistan. So they started thinking, oh, out of jealousy, that oh, India has got so much. Let us take Balochistan. So first of all, they took Balochistan. Then they also sent tribal people, provided them guns, and also sent their soldiers. They attacked Kashmir. So their design was that they take Balochistan, they also take Jammu and Kashmir, and perhaps they also had to design that if they also take Afghanistan, then they will be bigger than India. So this was the ethos, or this was the kind of thinking which had been prevailing on the mind of the people at that time. So this is why the relationship became bitter, because when with India, because they attacked Kashmir, and at that time, Mountbatten had given the condition that whichever ruler want to remain with India or with Pakistan, it will be their decision. Or if anybody wants to remain neutral, independent, that also be a third option. But when Pakistan attacked Jammu and Kashmir and they started occupying Jammu and Kashmir area, prior to that, the ruler of Kashmir the Partition, he had signed uh, a standby agreement with Pakistan and India that mm, then he will remain independent till he decides with which side he should go. So he was not decisive at that time whether he should be with Pakistan or he should be with India. He wanted to be neutral and independent. But Pakistan saw that no, is not deciding. That is why they attacked, and they thought that we will go and occupy, and it will be in our control. But then what happened when they started coming closer to Srinagar? Then Hari Singh sent his emissary and he signed the accession agreement with India because that time when he wanted the help, yes, Q. At that time when he wanted the help from India, Mountbatten said that unless you sign the agreement, Indian forces cannot go there because you wanted to be independent. Then the Indian forces went and the it had been checked and the fight was stopped. But the better relationship is still continuing, keeping the Kashmir issue because Pakistan is unduly thinking that it is it should be our property or it should be with us because the larger population of Muslims are there. But they forget that cannot be considered because India has got more Muslims even today than the number of Muslims in Pakistan.
Yeah. So in your mind,
Yeah.
the the seed for that tension was sown right in the beginning of the beginning itself. As and since then, it that is thriving. That kind of a mindset is still there, and that mindset is becoming the rationale for this kind of a behavior and the relationship that is just today tweaking with this tension from both sides. So, given that, now can you comment on very quickly what can or should be done so that the relationship between the two neighbors can become harmonious?
It's very simple because Pakistan needs to realize the fact that Kashmir does not belong to them because whichever ruler decided to be on either side, if the accession certificate had been signed by Hari Singh, the ruler of Jammu and Kashmir, to be with India, after that, there is no rationale for Pakistan to train for Kashmir. However, it was the blunder of Nehru who went to United Nations at that time, and then the ceasefire had been done. So some portion of Jammu and Kashmir, or one third of Jammu and Kashmir, is still occupied by Pakistan. So once they realize that this is not right on their part, if they let that portion be given back to India and to withdraw themselves and live harmoniously with India.
Yeah, but then, I mean, since it has not happened over the last 75 years, I don't think it is going to happen naturally like that.
No, but if it doesn't happen, then the harmony cannot be created between India and Pakistan.
Correct. So you are saying that unless that realization comes in the mind of the leaders of current Pakistan, the harmony cannot be achieved, and the harmony with the starting point of the harmonious relationship would be acceptance on their side that Kashmir belongs to India, and therefore we should not interfere what goes on in the Kashmir in India, Jammu and Kashmir, and start to work together on joint development, trade, people exchange, and things like that. But as I sit here and see that in the past, several attempts were made by different leaders from India to extend the hand of harmony and friendship. At each time that hand was extended, they basically bit behind us, right? There's no guarantee that even now, if something is initiated by Indian government, they will follow the suit. That is perhaps one reason the current Indian government is taking a strong position there can't be any talk until and unless the terror on the border stops. What do you think?
Yes, because you see, the whole problem is that there are two main reasons. One is the jealousy. The other reason is the ambition, undue ambition. And they should realize that what is the condition in Pakistan today. The economy is totally devastated. Pakistan is isolated. Entire world has realized that Pakistan has been harboring the terrorism and terrorists. Osama bin Laden was found in that country. Still, if they are not realizing this fact, that they should abandon this kind of approach and be harmonious, have harmonious relation with India. That will be more beneficial. Because what to talk of Kashmir if they have the harmonious relationship like Canada and USA? The people from Pakistan they can travel to India. Indian people can travel to Pakistan. This is such a big economic reason. At today, Indian economy has prospered so much that Pakistan will be immensely benefited,
Right.
and we all can live in harmony.
Yeah. And the other testimony to this kind of ongoing behavior is that once again, I think second or third time, Pakistan was put in the gray list by this international agency, FATF, and I think they should learn a lesson that you are not going to grow economically, but I think this is something that has to come not on the realization of the leaders, but the common man has to also get that realization. Although common man's might have been brainwashed, but I think people need to know what is more important, the economy or the current state of the geo-rating relationship between the two countries, which is not helping them at all.
But the common man, so much of this kind of ethos had been uh, given to the entire population, and many generations have passed. So common people cannot come up and realize this. The leaders who should be open minded, and they should realize for the good of the country and the entire population of the country that what would be a better proposition, either to be friendly with India or to keep enmity. Enmity. The second thing is that this they had adopted, because after 3-4 wars with India, every war they got defeated. So they started using terrorism, sending people to create problem like 26/11 in Bombay, so many, and in Kashmir also. So what they have achieved out of that.
Right. So Sharma ji, Mr. Sharma, now since time is running out,
Yeah.
I think this is a very interesting and important topic that we can continue later on. But for now, I would say that we can only pray and wish that common sense would prevail in Pakistan and the leaders in Pakistan to accept the reality. And once they get that acceptance, hopefully they can begin to have a harmonious relationship and a dialogue that would be more fruitful. Yeah. All right. With that said, thank you very much. Welcome. And we will see everyone next week on a different topic. Thank you. Good night.
Thanks.